Nowadays, people seem to be tired all the time. People believe that compared to our ancestors, we are simply living zombies. And it's all because of our terrible modern lifestyle. In fact, people in the past suffered from chronic fatigue just as much as we do, but it was a different kind of fatigue. Back then, physical labor took all of their strength. Later, the Industrial Revolution happened and people switched to mental work, and the usual physical fatigue was replaced by mental fatigue. However, back then everyone knew the reason for their tiredness. Now, over the past 50 years, we have changed our living environment so much that the cause of fatigue is not so easy to find. If an ancient worker simply had to stop working in order to recover, modern people simply don't know how to rest. What young people do nowadays? They sit down to watch TV series or play computer games, and for some reason this is considered good relaxation. But such activities continue to strain the brain. After work, an office worker turns on Netflix and watches a detective series in which he thinks and tries to figure out who the bad guy is. Or watch the series Dark, trying to grasp all the threats and family relationships. Then his son comes home from school and sits down to play Counter-Strike, where he has to keep track of where each opponent is, focus on his aim and spray, while passing on information. And this cannot be considered relaxation after a hard day. The main conflict is that we confuse emotional outburst with relaxation. We think that if activity brings us pleasure, then we are resting. We watch TV, sit on social media, and talk on the phone. It feels like relaxation, but in reality, we are straining ourselves even more. Moreover, we are replacing real rest with displeasure, in particular sleep, physical activity, solitude, and doing literally nothing. To understand how to combat modern fatigue, let's look at what has changed recently. Before the advent of electricity, we fell asleep when darkness fell and slept for 90 minutes longer. Sunset prepared us for sleep several hours in advance. The warm light from the sunset signaled the brain to produce melatonin, and the body relaxed. Now 90% of people fall asleep with a smartphone in their hands, and the cold blue light of the display signals to our brain that it is daytime and not time to sleep. As a result, we do not get enough deep sleep, which is responsible for recovery. Modern pleasures disrupt our circadian rhythms, which are the basis of our rest. Conclusion number 1. Sleep more. But of course, we're not only depriving ourselves of sleep, we also like activity. In 1970s, 1.3 million people work at office, but now that number has exceeded 18.5 million. After such work, people return home and sit again. Most of us sit too much, and this is important because immobility causes even more problems than smoking. The best rest after a day of sitting at a desk is a very vigorous workout. Studies show that even the most basic activity helps people get rid of chronic fatigue that has lasted for decades. Conclusion number 2. Move more. Our psyche also needs to unwind. This is when we are not observing people, including through a screen. We are not communicating with anyone, but simply doing nothing. It is desirable to do this in nature, and it's precisely this kind of rest that people lack. People do not fulfill their desires, even when they have the opportunity to do so. We are tired because we deprive ourselves of rest. It can be said that modern people create problems for themselves by reducing the amount of work they do. We do not give relief for the system of our bodies that works the hardest. Hence, conclusion number 3. Know what are you resting from.